All right, let's jump right in, shall we? Web3. It's a world that's buzzing right now, and we're ready to explore it. You sent in some great stuff, by the way. We'll make sure to bring you the coolest parts.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's talking about Web3 these days, right? It really feels like it has the potential to totally change how we use the internet.
For sure. And speaking of how we use the internet, Annette Doms's book, Web3, AI, Metaverse and Blockchain, really takes us on that journey, from those early basic websites.
Oh yeah, like the really simple ones.
Exactly, to what we have today, which is just...
The whole other world.
Yeah.
What I found interesting is how Doms kind of sets the stage for Web3. She sees it as a reaction to, well, how much power these big companies have online.
Right. It's like, remember Web 1.0, when you just read stuff online. Then Web 2.0 came along, and suddenly we're all creating content, connecting with people.
Sharing everything.
Yeah, and that's when those companies figured out how to make money from all that sharing, all that data.
Doms calls it the rise of corporate networks, which is a pretty accurate way to put it.
Yeah.
Our online activity is basically...
Cracked and turned into profit.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it feels like we've kind of lost some of that early internet freedom, It was this open space, and now it's...
more controlled.
Yeah.
So that's where Web3 comes in. It's all about decentralization,
Yeah.
putting the power back with,
Us, the users.
Exactly. And the key to all of that is blockchain technology. Doms explains how blockchain makes this super secure system for tracking and managing digital stuff.
It's like, imagine a digital ledger that everyone can see. You can't cheat it. You can't fake it.
It's all right there.
It's pretty amazing how this technology has come a long way. I mean, remember when Bitcoin was like this mysterious thing?
Oh yeah, only the techie people talked about it.
And now it's
everywhere.
It's gone mainstream.
And what Doms explains really well is how blockchain is the foundation for the entire Web3 thing. It's what makes things like digital ownership and this idea of decentralized control possible.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, the blockchain, but what about these tokens everyone's talking about? Where do they fit in?
So tokens, right. Think of them like digital representations of value, like in the Web3 world.
So if Web3 were a casino, tokens would be the chips.
Yeah, something like that. They have different uses within that specific system.
Okay, that makes sense. And there are different types of these tokens, right? I've heard about cryptocurrencies, like obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also NFTs, which seem like a different beast altogether.
You got it. Doms does a fantastic job of breaking all those down. Cryptocurrencies, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, each one is interchangeable with another of the same type. But NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, those are unique. They represent specific things in the digital world.
Ah, so that's where things get really interesting. Like that NFT of people's artwork that sold for, was it $69 million in Christie's?
Crazy, right?
That was a big moment for NFTs.
It really put them on the map. And NFTs aren't just for art, by the way. Doms talks about how they can be used for anything, like virtual land in the metaverse.
Oh, wow.
Digital collectibles, even, like proof that you went to an event.
So it's kind of like owning a little piece of the digital world. Mm-hmm. And that ownership is recorded on the blockchain for everyone to see. It's a total game changer, if you think about it.
It is. And then she has this whole fascinating concept of tokenizing everything, where she gives examples of how tokens are creating entirely new business models. Think about owning a fraction of some expensive artwork or real estate.
That sounds impossible for most people.
It was, but now there are these platforms like Artex and Realt. You buy a fraction of it as a token.
So instead of needing millions to invest, you can buy a tiny piece of it.
Exactly. It makes investing way more accessible. And Doms talks about how tokens can even be used for things like loyalty programs or even voice-to-earn models. Have you heard of that?
Voice to earn.
No.
Is that like getting paid for posting on social media or something?
In a way, yeah. It's this idea that whatever you contribute online actually has value, and you can be rewarded with tokens for it. Doms thinks it could change how we think about work and online participation.
It definitely feels like the lines between creating content, participating in communities, and earning money are blurring in this Web3 world.
For sure. And Doms argues that all of this could lead to a much more fair and inclusive internet.
Where anyone can contribute and benefit.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked blockchain, we've talked tokens. Now let's get to the metaverse, which seems to be this huge part of the Web3 world.
Right. And Doms is careful to point out that the metaverse isn't just about putting on a VR headset and disappearing into a virtual world.
Yeah, I think a lot of people still connect the metaverse with gaming,
Yeah.
Like Fortnite or Roblox.
Right, but those are just like early examples. Doms sees the metaverse as something much bigger. She describes it as this network of virtual worlds all connected where people can do all sorts of things from attending concerts to going to conferences, working, shopping.
So it's almost like an extension of our reality, but in the digital world.
Yeah. And what makes it even cooler is how blockchain and NFTs can actually improve the metaverse experience. Imagine you own a piece of virtual land in Decentraland or a rare item in some blockchain-based game.
That would be awesome.
Right. And because it's all recorded on the blockchain, you actually have control over those assets. You can trade them, you can sell them.
So it's not just about escaping into some virtual world. It's about having real ownership and even economic opportunities inside that world.
Exactly. And Doms highlights how the metaverse could actually change a whole bunch of industries: retail, education, healthcare, entertainment. The possibilities are huge.
It's almost too much to take in. But Doms doesn't stop there. She even goes into artificial intelligence and how it fits into Web3.
Now things are getting really futuristic. What she explains is how AI can actually personalize our experiences in Web3 applications, like taking care of tasks for us or providing us with a really useful data analysis.
So like AI becomes our Web3 co-pilot, helping us navigate this whole new world. Does she give specific examples of how AI is being used in Web3?
She does. AI-powered chatbots that help us find information, content creation tools that help us be more creative, even platforms that analyze massive amounts of data to help us make better decisions. It's pretty incredible.
It sounds like AI could really improve almost every part of our Web3 experience, but I'm really curious to see how all of this actually plays out in the real world.
Well, the good news is that DOMS provides some great real-world examples of Web3 in action. All sorts of different industries are already using it.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm ready to be impressed.
Well, she starts with Nike. You know, they're always ahead of the curve, right? Those NFT link sneakers they released were a huge success.
Oh yeah, I remember those. It wasn't just about owning the digital sneakers either. You got access to special events and like online groups and stuff.
Exactly. It was such a cool way to blend the physical and digital worlds, you know, creating a whole new level of brand engagement. And Doms points out that other big luxury brands are jumping on board too.
Oh really?
Like, well, she mentions Tiffany & Co. They did a limited edition NFT pendant collection, and they sold out like instantly. And then there's Maison Margiela. They released a whole virtual fashion line that you could actually wear in the metaverse.
So it's like even these established brands are starting to see the potential of Web3, like to reach a new audience that's totally comfortable with owning things digitally.
Exactly. And then she talks about Porsche. They have this NFT thing where you can like customize your own virtual Porsche.
Wow.
You can even take it for a virtual test drive.
That's so cool. It's like bringing that love of cars into the digital world.
Totally. And the interesting thing is, these aren't just like one-off marketing stunts. Doms points out how companies are using Web3 to make their loyalty programs even better.
Didn't she mention Lufthansa doing something like that?
Yes. Lufthansa launched an NFT-based loyalty program. You can collect these digital cards that unlock different rewards and perks. It's a fun way to reward their frequent flyers.
It really seems like every industry is finding ways to use Web3 now. From fashion, to cars, to travel.
And it's not just for consumers either. Doms even mentions how the German railway Deutsche Bahn is experimenting with blockchain technology to streamline their logistics and make things more efficient.
Wow. So even companies that you wouldn't normally associate with cutting-edge tech are seeing the value of Web3?
Absolutely. And she even touches on the possibilities of Web3 in healthcare. She talks about how blockchain could be used to keep patient data safe and how AI could help with things like diagnoses and treatment plans.
It's mind-blowing to think about how Web3 could change so many different aspects of our lives, from the things we buy to how we get medical care.
It really is. And one thing that Doms keeps emphasizing throughout the book is the role of Web3 communities.
Okay, let's talk about those communities. I keep hearing the term DAO thrown around.
Yeah.
What exactly is a DAO, and what's its place in the Web3 world?
A DAO, or Decentralized Autonomous Organization, is basically an organization that's run by code and the people who own its tokens. Instead of having like a traditional hierarchy, decisions are made through voting on the blockchain. So everyone has a say.
So it's like a company that's controlled by the community where everyone has a voice and a vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty radical.
It is, and Doms believes DAOs have the power to change how we work and collaborate completely. They're all about transparency, accountability, and a more equal distribution of power and profits.
That sounds like a dream for anyone who's ever been frustrated with how traditional companies work.
Right. And Doms highlights how DAOs are already being used for so many things, like funding new projects, managing investments, creating and sharing content, you name it.
Are there any specific platforms that people use to create and manage DAOs?
Yeah, she mentions Aragon and DA Stack. Those platforms provide the tools and structures you need to get a DAO up and running.
Cool. I'll check those out. But, with all this talk about DAOs and Web3, I'm starting to feel a little lost with all the new jargon. It can be confusing for someone who's just starting to learn about this stuff.
Oh, for sure. Doms actually talks about that. She explains how Web3 communities have developed their own unique language.
Oh, like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, so there's DYOR, which stands for Do Your Own Research. It's basically a reminder that in this constantly changing world, it's important to learn and make your own informed decisions.
Like that. It really emphasizes that Web3 is about empowering individuals.
Exactly. And then there's WAGMI, which stands for We're All Gonna Make It.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one everywhere.
It's like a motto for the community, a belief that Web3 has the power to transform things for the better.
It definitely feels like a world full of energy and new ideas and possibilities.
Yeah.
But I also want to be realistic. Are there any downsides to Web3? Does DOMS address any potential challenges?
She does. Yeah, she's very upfront about that Web3 isn't like some perfect utopia. It's got its quirks and its issues, just like any new tech.
Like what are some things to watch out for?
One of the big ones she talks about is scalability. Like right now, a lot of blockchain networks have trouble handling lots of transactions all at once.
So if everyone starts using Web3 apps, things could slow down.
Yeah, kinda. Like rush hour traffic online, slow transactions, high fees. Those could be deal breakers if Web3 is going to go mainstream.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What other challenges are there?
Another biggie is interoperability. So right now you've got tons of different blockchains and they all work separately. It's a bit of a mess.
It's like those travel adapters you need for different countries, right?
Exactly. And that makes it hard to move data or assets between different Web3 platforms.
Yeah.
But the good news is developers are on it. DOMS talks about platforms like Polkadot and Cosmos. These are designed to connect all those blockchains.
So like building bridges between those blockchain islands.
Exactly. It's going to be super important if we want Web3 to reach its full potential. But let's be real for a second. Is Web3 even user-friendly for people who aren't like tech wizards?
Right. I was wondering about that myself. Yeah. DOMS mentions that, right?
She does. She's honest about the fact that Web3 can be, well, pretty complicated and intimidating, especially for newbies. It takes time to get your head around it.
So how do we make it more accessible for everyday people?
She really stresses the need for easier to use interfaces, better ways to educate people, and strong communities to help guide people through those first steps.
It's like, remember the early days of the internet?
Yeah.
Or even just personal computers.
Yeah. It took a while for those to become user-friendly and for everyone to get on board.
Hopefully Web3 will follow the same path, and we'll start seeing apps that are as simple to use as what we're used to now.
Fingers crossed. It would be a shame if Web3 was only for the tech elite.
I agree. So we've talked about the challenges with like the tech itself, but are there any other risks or downsides to Web3?
Right, good point. DOMS does talk about security risks, hacking, scams. That stuff exists in any online space. And because blockchain transactions are like permanent, you can't undo them. So if you make a mistake or get scammed, it's tough to recover.
So it's super important to be careful and do your research before you invest or do any kind of transaction in the Web3 world.
Absolutely. You got to be smart about it. And the good news is there are more and more resources and groups popping up to help people navigate Web3 safely.
That's reassuring. Because at the end of the day, Web3 should be about empowering people, not putting them at risk.
Totally. And that kind of brings us back to Dom's main point. This whole Web3 thing is about giving people control over their data, their online identity, and their experience online.
It's a powerful idea. And I think a lot of people resonate with that, especially now when it feels like things are kind of messed up online.
For sure. And as Doms reminds us, the future of Web3 really depends on all of us. It's about participation, innovation, and building something better together.
Well said. This deep dive into Web3 has been amazing. I'm definitely inspired to learn more.
That's awesome. And remember, Dom's book is just the beginning. There's a whole universe of Web3 stuff out there waiting to be explored.
So, to our listener, thank you again for sending in such fascinating stuff. We hope this deep dive has piqued your interest and given you a good starting point to explore the world of Web3.
And until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and be part of the change you want to